have is day 3, is we are writing an equation for an ellipse in standard form for the following. And we have here the foci is 3, 0, and negative 3, 0 with a focal constant, and sometimes it's noted FC at equals 10. So the first thing you need to do is to get out your sheet that we've been talking about, and I'm going to fold it so that you can see just the ellipses, so I can talk about it. Also, what I want you to do is I want you to know that this is like situation A and this is situation B. So when I say which situation is it, girls. So situation A, hopefully you notice, is your x-axis would be the longer one, and so your foci is on the x-axis. Situation B, your foci is on your y-axis, and so y is the longer one. Also, hopefully you notice how you know is you're looking at here and see how C is in the X spot, so that means that your X is longer. Or if your X is longer, that means your C is in the X spot. Here we have our Y's are longer and C is in the Y spot. Also note that when you're looking at this, it says plus or minus C. C is always going to be the positive number. So if it says plus or minus 3, C is what? 3. Now, are we talking about our situation A, where the x-axis is the longer one, or situation B, where the y-axis is the longer one? A. And you know it's A because C is in the X spot. See how C is in that X spot? So it is this situation. That means we are going to use these equations.
How do you know what C is all the time?
Yeah.
Like, how do you know, like, what?
C is the foci. It's right there. Foci. I'm going to tell you, but foci, see how foci says that it's 3, 0, negative 3, 0. Foci means plus or minus C, 0. So C is your 3. What C is if you take a piece of string and you put it on both your foci, that's what creates your ellipse. So just to kind of let you see, I'm not going to draw the whole thing, but what happens is you have two foci, and if you take a piece of string and you put it to a point, and then you pull it to the next point, that's what creates your foci, just so that you can, or your ellipse, so you can see that that is what creates it. So just so you know, that's what it is. But you really, all you need to know is how to use the formulas. The nice thing about this is this helps us to find A and B. Alright, so now that we know we have to use these, what does our focal constant equal? But it equals 10, but what formula do we use for our focal constant? Okay, look for the word focal constant and look after it, and what does after focal constant?
2A.
2A. So your focal constant is 2A. So that means 2A equals 10. So then to solve for A, you divide by 2. A is equal to 5. So we know what C is, we know what A is, so now we need to find out what B is. So what we have to do is use the ones that compare what we know. So we know that B squared is equal to A squared minus C squared. So I'll write that so you guys can see it. B squared is equal to A squared minus C squared. So A was 5, so we're going 5 squared minus 3 squared. So B squared is equal to that. B squared is equal to 25 minus 9. Which equals 16. Alright, so it says to write an equation in standard form. So remember, your standard form looks like this. So it says x squared over a squared. All right, so a squared, so we have x squared. A always goes with x. So x squared over what? 25 plus y squared over 16 is equal to 1. That is your equation. Now, if you are given the equation, you hopefully can clearly see which axis is the bigger axis. So looking here, what axis is the bigger axis?
X.
The x's, right? Because that's clearly 25 is bigger. So that is the bigger one. When you graph it, remember, a is with your x's, so you have to take the square root of this. So what's the square root of 25? 5. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And to do on the y, we have 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so we have our ellipse.
So you take the square root of like under the y.
And that's your y-axis. That's on your
That's
y.
what your y-axis values are.
Yep.
And the same thing with the x.
Yep, because underneath it is a squared. And so this is just a. And the y's are b squared, so that's just b.
Okay.
That, yep.
And we're going to be able to use this on the quiz.
You sure are.
Yay!
And on the final, I'm going to tell you, you won't need all of these formulas for the final, so I'm going to tell you which ones to put on your paper. Yep. All right. B. It's the same thing. I want you to try now to find the formula in this foci now of 0, 7, and 0, -7. Whoops. And your focal constant of 18. So on this one, what's the bigger axis? The y-axis. So make sure you're using the formulas that go with the y-axis. Bless you. All right, Nick, what is C? Okay, first of all, do you see how it's 0, 7, 0, -7?
Yeah.
Okay, so, and it's the foci. So we're looking, here's the foci, and it says a number, comma, 0. And then this one says the foci is 0, comma, a number. So are we talking about situation A or situation B? B. So we're talking about situation B. And so this, whatever number, the positive value, that's C. So C would be 7. Yep. All right, so Madison, we have here, what does my focal constant equal? What does this 18 equal? What does this 18 equal?
Oh,
2b, right. So this equals 2b. So then I would divide by 2 to get rid of it, and b equals 9. You have to go to the situation. You have to go to which do you see? Did you see where your 7? Did you see where your 7 is? It's in your y. So this is your y values. And basically, all you have to do is really understand where the formulas are coming from. That's the hardest part, is to realize, am I using this one or am I using this group? All right. So now that we know what C is and we know what B is, I have to use this bottom one. I have to use A squared is equal to B squared minus C squared. So I have A squared is equal to 9 squared is 81 minus 7 squared is 49, which gives me a 32. So x squared over a squared, so it's over 32, plus y squared over 81 is equal to 1. Now, looking at this, you should be able to tell me a couple things. So, eyes up here, without looking at everything else, looking at just my formula. What is my major axis? Y. Where is your foci? What is it, on your x-axis or your y-axis? Your y-axis, because it's always on your major axis. And the next thing I want to know is, what else did I want to know? Oh, how do I graph this? How do I graph this? I do the square root of 32 for A. So A is equal to the square root of 32. And B is equal to the square root of 81. And remember, A is on your X and B is on your Y. So, square root of 32. 5 point what? Right. 5.6, and this one is 9. So because I'm running out of room, I'm going to call, if I call this 9 and this 9, so this would be 9 here, and that's a 9. So nope, so 6 would be about right here. Well, half of it's 5, so that's about 6 right here. Nope, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just trying to make it look sure that it looks like a oval. All right. So that is what we have. Nope. Example 2. Given x squared over 23 plus y squared over 55 equals 1. I want you to find the area of the ellipse. The area formula of the ellipse, and also the foci. Alright, so what is the area of a circle? Pi r squared. So if you think about it, the area of a circle is pi r squared, because there's an r here and an r there. But the area of an ellipse is pi a b. So I want you guys to add that to your formula sheet. Area equals pi. Oh yeah, it is there. Huh. I didn't even see that. But okay. But I guess it is there. Alright, so I added it there, so I guess I didn't see it down there. So anyways, so what we have to do is we have to find out what A is and what B is. First of all, before we begin, what is my major axes? Y. So that means my foci is going to be 0 plus or minus whatever C is. It's going to be in my Y position. What does 23 equal? A squared. So A squared is equal to 23. So how do I find A? You take the square root. So A is equal to the square root of 23, which is 4.8. What does B squared equal? 55. So B is equal to the square root of 55. So that is, thank you, 7.4. All right. To find the area, remember, area is equal to AB pi. So we don't round too much. We probably should have taken and put this in like that, but I'm going to put square root of 23 times the square root of 55 times pi, just so we don't round. So hopefully you guys got 111.7. How do I find the foci? Which one am I going to use? Am I using situation A or situation B?
Situation B.
Situation B. So I have to use this formula to find out what C is. So A squared is equal to B squared minus C squared. We have here A squared was my 23 is equal to B squared, which is 55, minus C squared. I'm going to subtract my 55. So I get a negative 32 is equal to a negative C squared. Divide by negative 1. So I have 32 is equal to C squared. And then the last we have to do is take the square root. So 32, the square root is C is 5.7. So your foci is 0, comma, plus or minus 5.7. Now, if you want to remember one thing, your C squared is always going to be the bigger number minus the smaller number. Always. So if you think about it, because that's what it ends up being. So if you take the bigger number minus the smaller number, that's always C squared. But if you can always go back to the formula if you need to. But if you can remember that's where you get C squared from. And then you would take the square root to get C. All right. So again, make sure you're keeping up on your homework, because if you do your homework, you should be able to do that that quiz, that 50-point quiz that is on Thursday. Take out yesterday's assignment. Take out yesterday's assignment. Check your answers.
Oh, do you have an extra copy of that?
This one?
Yeah. Sounds delectable.
Questions, ladies and gentlemen, questions about 1 through 10. Yes.
Can you do 10?
Can I do number 10? Yes. All right. First of all, the first thing I would do on 10 is to find the center. So the center, remember, is in the middle. So this point right here would be 0, -4, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then what is the radius? The radius is how much does it get to the edge of the circle. So how far from here to there?
I feel like number 1.
2.
No, 4.
Kidding, 4.
Cause see how it says
That's
4?
what it was.
So that's 4.
Yeah.
So what you have to do is it's with your x's goes this, so there's nothing with my x's, so it's just gonna be x squared. Plus with my y's, it's opposite, so it's y plus 4, and we're squaring that. And then it's the radius, because it's, do you need me to write the formula?
Yes.
It's from your sheet,
Oh, kidding, you don't need
but that's all right, I am already started, so. So, remember it's always opposite, so the negative, that's so positive 4k.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then radius squared, so 4 squared is 16.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks.
Yep. Other questions? Just so you know, to verify a point, if I said verify a certain point is, say if I, on this one, if I say verify that 0, 0 is in this formula, because tonight you'll have to do that. It says verify that point 0, 0 is on this equation. All they want you to do is literally put in the point 0, 0, and then this side should equal this side. So you would put in 0 squared, which is 0, plus your 0 plus 4, that's 4. 4 squared is 16, so 16 equals 16. That's how you verify it. You literally plug it in. Backside. Here's your backside. Because this right here, this says that it's less than or greater than or equal to. So because then you go to your, then you go to here and it says that if your circle is greater than your radius, then it's the exterior. So that means I'm shading outside it. This whenever it's two things, that means that your shade is between your two radiuses, so it's between them. Here it says that your points are less than 9, or less than the radius. So it's less than, so it's inside. So that's how you can tell which way you're shading. Oh, this one's dotted. Shoot. Yep. Okay, questions on yesterday's homework?
I hope I did better than Darren. I'll scream if I did better than Darren on the
Oh. Here are your 17 and 18 to check. Any questions about this? If you didn't do it, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you go back through and do it, because writing down the answers, if you don't go through the process, it's not going to help you when you get to that 50-point quiz on Thursday. No. You get to use your work and your notes and your what we've been doing. No, I thought I'd do it on chapter 13.
Teachers can't use sarcasm. That's for the love.
It's going to be, but this is for your chapter 12.
That's a big help.
Alright. Questions? Nothing? Anybody need it?